Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about something that's going to help you align with your life purpose and find your true self. That is the human design chart. But before I say it, I'm going to tell you again, guys, do not limit yourself to any sort of human design, destiny matrix, or your birth chart. Remember, you can always transcend your birth chart, condition or decondition yourself, and manifest anything you want because it is your reality, baby. So the first thing I want you to know about human design chart is let me give you a story time before I talk about the human design chart, how I discovered it, and how it changed my life and it can change yours. The first thing that happened with me is that I was bullied as a kid and I was constantly chasing validation from people. So what happened is that I tried to make friends, but my strategy of making friends was like I wanted to push through and make friends, right? I would like to push myself in social scenarios even when my body was saying no, this is not the situation or this is not the person for you. I would ignore my body and push myself so that I would have a friend, or I would have somebody finally to talk to or who can understand me. But I realized this thing was not working for me. When even after trying, pushing, doing things for people, I did so much, I gave so much, I helped so much, to the point of like exhausting myself, but my friendships were not staying or sticking. They were just falling apart. I was losing people and everything was going haywire. And at that time I was like, to keep friendship I have to like push and give, but my system was exhausted and I was like, I don't want this kind of friendship where I only have to do things, because I have been hurt so many times before in friendship. So yeah, I'm healing from it now. So I was so desperate for company. I used to push, but I saw that people were not reciprocating my love or the way I was giving. So then one day I thought to myself that this is not working out for me and I'm not gonna do this again. I'm tired of trying to push a friendship. I want people to chase me. I want to be in my black cat energy. So what I did is, one day when I was like scrolling through my social media, I found about this thing called human design chart. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me right. It's the human design chart. It is the chart that tells you about your aura. It can tell you so much clues about yourself. It's not typically like a birth chart. It's something that helps you to align with your dream life faster. So when I entered my data, the first thing I saw was that I was a projector. Yes, I was a projector, and that explained why I was somebody who used to love to talk, impart knowledge, give people, share wisdom, concerned with more people, try to help people out. And also I was very much into writing and journaling and this speaking and preaching. So next, the first thing I saw was that I was a projector. Next thing I saw was, what is my strategy? So apparently 20 to 21% of the population is a projector and their strategy is waiting for invitation. Now this thing confused the hell out of me, because I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean by wait for invitation? It's like somebody gonna pop out of their royal carriage and bring out this invitation letter for me. Like, how can I use them in my friendships? So I was so confused, which I'm going to talk about to you, how you can do it. But so I was so confused. I was like, okay, so this is the reason why I don't like pushing. So now I know how to wait for an invitation, but that time I didn't. So yep, that explained why I was failing with the strategy of pushing, doing like the world says for us to do, like push your way through. That's why I never resonated with the word push your way through, and I always wanted to be in my feminine energy. Now the sacral types, or the ones who have the consistent energy, can go and push. Also the manifestors can push their way out, but with projectors and reflectors it's usually not the case. So before I start about the 5 energy types, this was my way of finding my human design, and it has changed my life in the way that now I do not chase people, I get invitations, right? And I have cracked the code a little on how you can get invitations. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you everything in this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is finding out your human design type or your energy type by going to a human design chart calculator. You can just go into the Google and type human design chart calculator, and you will get a human design chart calculator. From there, I want you to look up what is your type. Are you a projector, generator, reflector, manifesting generator, or a manifester? There are 5 energy types. If I can, I will put the picture or the aura type of this 5 people. So it is usually the aura type of a person. 70% population is generator or manifesting generator. Roughly 9% is manifestor, 20% are projector, and 1% is reflector. So how does this thing like apply to you, and how can you use it? So firstly, let me talk a little bit about what are this energy types and their strategy, and so that you can also find your strategy and use it. So for example, generator and manifesting generator are people who are born with consistent energy to do work. Yes, they roughly make up 70% of the population. So the thing can be that you, your mom, your pa, or maybe most of your friends are generator or manifesting generator, or you can be a manifesting generator, or your husband, wife, or your girlfriend, boyfriend can be a manifesting generator or a generator. So generators are people who have a defined sacral. Now if you see the human design chart, I'm going to make sure to put a body graph here. So if you see this body graph in the human design chart, there are 9 centers, right? There's crown, there's ajna, there's throat, there's G, heart, spleen, solar plexus, sacral, and root. These are the 9 centers. Now each center has a different function. So for example, the crown is about inspiration, ideas, and motivation. It's also about the divine downloads that we get. Ajna is about calculating and your thought process, and the way you kind of like articulate things, or the way your logical mind works. So it's like the analyzing center. Then throat is the center of manifestation, speech, and action. Then the G is the center of the identity, love, direction, and purpose. Then there's ego or heart, which is the center of self-worth, willpower, and resources. Then we have the spleen, which is the center of intuition, wellness, and it's also the center of survival instincts. Then we have solar plexus, which is that of emotions and creativity. Then we have sacral, which is of creativity, pleasure, and sex. And then we have the root, which is of pressure and the inspiration to start something new, and the way you handle pressure, your pressure handling abilities, and how do you react into environments where there's so much pressure. So these are the 9 centers. Now the sacral is the center which is about life force energy. 70% of the population have this consistent life force energy, meaning that these people have the consistent energy for creativity, pleasure, sex, and doing things. So if you're a generator, let me put my glasses on because I can't see. Okay, so if you're a generator, you are somebody who has consistent energy for doing a lot of work. You are somebody whose strategy type is to respond. So you are here to respond to life. You don't need an invitation. You are the kind of person, for example, your friend asks, hey, do you want to go to the movies? You just respond yes or no. Okay, you're here to respond to life and respond to situations and people. You don't need an invitation. You, for example, you're going somewhere and you see something is happening, okay, quarrel or something is happening, you're the one who will respond. You don't need an invitation. No, people don't need to tell you come here and join us. No, you can respond to life. Okay, so you are somebody who responds. Generators and manifesting. Okay, generators are pure sacral beings. So they are here to work. So the hustle culture is what usually resonates with you. You're somebody who has so much energy and you want to do things, okay? You like to have a system or a routine of things, and you have the energy to do those things consistently. Then we have manifesting generator. Okay, generators are the people who are here to bring the energy of world up, because they have so much energy. They kind of energize other people. They amplify the energies of the people who are non-sacral beings. So they're very energetic people. They're the people who can work 10 hours and then come back home and then cook and then watch a film. So they have that sort of energy, right? Then there's manifesting generator. So they are a hybrid between the manifestor and the generator. So manifesting generator are kind of people who are very passionate, who are here to do and create a lot of things. They have the consistent energy, plus they are here to start a lot of things as well. So their strategy is to, of course, respond like generators. So they are here to respond to life as well, to scenarios and situations and to people. They don't need invitation and they don't need to initiate. They have the consistent energy too, and they're very multitasking people. They're the kind of people who can, cook while they are talking to you, while they are responding to an email. So they are this kind of people who have a lot of energy and they can initiate things as well, okay? So they have, the generators and manifesting generators have a very open aura, okay? So their aura is, as far as I remember, the auras of a generator or manifesting generator is enveloping, okay? So they have like enveloping and open aura. So what happens with them is that they are the kind of person, who just can mingle with others very easily. They don't need invitation, they don't need to initiate, and they are not here to certainly wait or think a lot. They are here to do, okay? They are the hustlers. That's why 70% of the population talks about the hustle culture, because 70% of the population consists of manifestors and manifesting generators. Then we have the energy type of projector. Projector roughly consists of 20% of the population, and projectors are the kind of people who are the non-sacral beings. Think of the wise teachers or hermits who are here to guide the other energy types. Yes, projectors are here to guide other energy types. Now they don't have consistent form of energy. They have their sacral undefined. You will see always a projector has to have their sacral undefined. They don't have the life force energy. They are here to amplify the life of energy of other people and help and guide other people. So projectors are the one who have focused and absorbing aura and who can see through you. Projectors are the people that you can go to guidance for. They are the wise ones, okay? I'm a projector myself, so you will see that projectors need to wait for invitation, because projectors are like these portals of information that you can access, but you need to invite them. Because if a projector tries to force themselves onto someone, then they get bitterness. People don't accept, appreciate them, people demean them, and they get this sort of bitterness, okay? So projectors need to be invited to share their information, because a projector is like this powerhouse of guidance, wisdom, resources and information, okay? So they have access to a lot of knowledge and they are very wise beings. One of the things that you will see a projector does is that they are here to see people, and they also love journaling. If you're a projector, you would love to journal. So yep, they have a focused and penetrating aura, which allows them to see people or see intentions clearly, because they're here to guide other people, show the light. Think of the hermit card in tarot, right? So they're like that. So because they are here to guide other people, so they have this focused and precise aura where they can see you, they can scan you, and then they can guide you, okay? So they're the wise ones, they're the guides, preachers, teachers, okay? Next we have is our manifestors. Now manifestors are the kind of people who are here to start something. They're also the fire starters or the initiators. Manifestors are the kind of people who come up with a new concept and who are here to initiate, okay? They don't need invitation, okay? They're not here to wait to respond to life. No, they go actively and create something. For example, a manifestor is somebody who's gonna come up with something new, a product or a new maybe idea, and they can push it through because their strategy is initiating. How do we know that a manifestor is on their right track? Well, we can know a manifestor is on their right track when we see that they're peaceful, they're not self, which I will also talk about, cover in this video. They're not self is that they get angry, they're pissed off. Okay, next we have reflectors. Reflectors consist roughly of 1% of the society, because it's very rare to be a reflector. They are here to simply reflect other people. Okay, they're like the saints who are here to observe and just reflect what the other person is reflecting. So if you think that a reflector is toxic, because you have a reflective friend and you suddenly think they're toxic, it is because they are reflecting the traits in you which you cannot see. Or if you have a reflective friend and you suddenly see that their personality is changing or something, it is because of they are reflecting you. They are like the chameleons. Okay, they don't have consistent energy anywhere, so they simply reflect other people. If they're with sacred energy types, they can do things like the sacred energy types, but then they crash out like any non-sacral being. But if they're with a non-sacral being, they are then acting like the non-sacral types. Okay, so they simply reflect other people. Think of like transformers. They're here to transform themselves based on the people and environment that they are in. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about, after we know the energy types, I'm going to talk about their strategy. Okay, so now the strategy. Okay, the strategy of, let's say, generators and manifesting generators is to wait to respond. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you have to wait to respond. Generator or manifesting generator is that, ladies and gentlemen, respond. Yes, they need to respond to life and respond to circumstances and situations. So for example, if something they see is going on in a place where they are, they can get intermingled into that situation without needing prior, hey, can you come and join? They react based on their sacral impulses, because their sacral center is defined. Also, you will see majority of generators and manifesting generators are very, very creative people. Okay, they are very creative, and they're also very, very people or group oriented. Like, they want to have a lot of friends, they want to go out a lot, they want to respond to life and live the life to fullest. Okay, so they are here because they consist of 70% of the population. So they are here to intermingle and co-create and create projects, and as well as for progeny. So they're the sacred beings, and being the sacred beings, they can intermingle with each other very well, as their strategy is to respond. So they need to respond to other people or situations. Now, generators and manifesting generators have the same thing, because their aura is open and enveloping. So they have this sort of warmth in them, for which people just get drawn towards them. But the risk that they have is sometimes they can be over exhausted due to thinking they have unlimited source of energy and doing a lot. Okay, responding a lot. They need to be quite wise about how they respond to life. Okay, so one of their, of course I'm going to talk about signature as well. So one of their sign that they are going on a correct path in life is that they are satisfied with their life, and one of their signature that they are not in the right track in their life is that they are frustrated with their life. Now, talking about my dear projectors. Yes, so projectors strategy is waiting for invitation. Yes, they physically and emotionally as well need for people to come to them or approach them. Okay, non-sacred beings are usually very feminine types, so they need people to approach them, except for manifestors, because manifestor strategy is initiating. But yeah, projectors want people to come to them. Projectors have this sort of penetrating aura, which calls in the right people, but the right people or environment will only get called when you recognize the value in yourself, when you understand that you are the powerhouse of guidance and wisdom. So the risk with projectors is that they can become bitter very easily, because they are the ones, or the wise ones, constantly giving good advices to people. But because they have not been invited, so their advice goes unnoticed or unheard. That's a risk with them. The way you know that a projector is aligned is when they feel successful or when they're successful. One of the examples of a famous projector that I know is Jasmine Sandler's. Yes, Jasmine Sanders is a projector, I believe, because I saw her human design chart, and maybe she is like a self-projected projector. Okay, so yeah, depending on the centers that happens. So yep, projectors are the one who need to wait for invitation. Like they need a friend to come up to them and be like, hey, do you want to be friends with me? Or they want to, you know, do a lot of things by themselves. Like they want to approach sometimes, but when they initiate and they approach, the relationships or friendships are mostly in a way of failing, which I have personally observed and faced as a projector. They need to wait for the invitation. They need their partner to come up to them and confess like, hey, I find you really cute. Okay, and they need their friends to come up to them like, hey, I want you to invite to a party, or hey, I want you to invite to this occasion or event, or hey, do you want to come for a hangout? Okay, they need proper invitations, okay, or else they will feel bitter and left out and unheard. Next we have our manifestors. Manifestors are the people who are here to initiate, create. Okay, they are here to start something, the firecrackers. So with manifestors, the thing they can, the strategy they can do is they can directly approach another person for relationship, friendship, or for work, for opportunities, which projectors can't. They need the invitation, they need to be invited, but manifestors can. Okay, because their strategy is to initiate, right? And their aura is closed and repelling, so they mostly like to do their things alone. They don't like a lot of intermingling in their craft. So there are some people you will see, you know, who love to do group projects. Manifestors are the kind of people who want to do their things like by themselves in their time. They don't want to be pushed around or disturbed. Okay, very independent and bold people they are. So the way, you know, a manifestor can get aligned with their, you know, energy type is by initiating, by creating, by going out. Okay, right. So the way a manifestor will feel aligned is when they go head on and you know, create the opportunity, for example, for themselves. For example, if they want a job, they need to initiate it. They need to go to that website or directly go to the person, be like, I heard you're interested in finding an employer, I would be interested in working in your company. So they need to be direct and, you know, forefront and upfront with their life and with the opportunities and relationships and friendships, so that they feel aligned. One way they feel aligned is when they feel peaceful. Their signature theme is when they feel peace. So the way a manifestor can know that they are aligned with their life is when they feel peaceful. They're here to inform and then do the action. So before doing, one thing they need to do is they need to inform. Okay, so for example, I can give this example to you. So if they are, for example, giving a presentation, okay, they are here to initiate, but they need to inform, then initiate. Okay, so before they give a presentation, they have a very spontaneous presentation they want to give, they need to ask, or they need to inform the people, hey, I'm very interested in giving this presentation I just spontaneously made up. If they just push themselves without informing, that can cause anger in them, because people wouldn't know how to react to such a new or unconventional thing. So they need to inform, and then they need to, you know, initiate. Okay, so a manifestor needs to inform. So for example, they want this job opportunity, they have you know, applied for this job, and now they want to introduce a new idea. So beforehand, before jumping to the new idea, they need to inform the people, hey, I have a very new idea that I want to enlighten you guys with. So they are here to inform and then take the action. If they take the action without informing, people may not appreciate them and they may feel angry. because people may become like surprised with such, newness, or such, you know out of the box way of doing or thinking. Next we have reflectors. Reflector strategy is they have to wait for 28 days or lunar cycle. Okay, so with reflectors, because they are here to reflect, they don't have any defined energy centers, so they just amplify other people's energy centers. So before making a choice, they need to wait for the lunar cycle for 28 days, so that they can feel the most aligned. Now their signature is that they will feel surprised, okay, with the decision that they have taken. They will feel like sudden surprise and they will be very happy. And their non-self thing is that they will feel very like disappointed. Okay, now as I have covered that, I want to move on to the next chapter, which I've covered the strategy, I've covered the energy type, and now I want to move on to the sector where, how will you know that you're aligned with your path or not? Okay, the path of alignment for each energy type. I'm gonna do it quick because after that I'm gonna tell you how you can, align with your life using your energy types. So this one you can do is, if you're a generator, manifesting generator, yes, if you feel satisfied with your life, that means your life is on the right track. But if you feel frustrated with your life, that means you're going on the wrong track and you need to rethink your choices, or sort of consider your actions or your life choices. With projectors, if you feel bitter with your life right now, that means your life is not aligned, you're going into the wrong track. So you need to rethink and reevaluate your life choices so that you can feel aligned with your life. And the way you will feel aligned is when you feel successful, or when people recognize you. Recognition and success is very important for you. Next we have the type of, guys, I'm very hungry. Okay, I can't control myself. So manifestors, the way you know you're aligned with your life is when you feel peaceful, you inform before initiating, and it works for you. Because if you push very suddenly, then people will get scared, right? So yeah, if you feel peaceful with your life, that means your life is on the right track. But if you feel angry, will just place that you're in your life, the circumstances you are in, that means your life is not in right track, and you need to consciously make different choices or reevaluate your life. For reflectors, if you feel surprised with your life, that means your life is on the right track. But if you feel disappointed with your life, that means your life is not on the right track. Now you can use your strategy type, wait 28 days before changing the environment, or changing the situation, or making the decision to change the location, or change that friendship or relationship. Now with aura types, as I have already said, that generators and manifesting generators have open and enveloping aura, projectors have focused and penetrating aura, manifestors have closed and repelling aura, and reflectors, they have like this sort. They're here to sample energy types, sample and refine. Okay, they can see if the person's energy is sitting well with them or not. They have that free hand and they're like these transformers. Okay, now how can you use this information that I gave you of generator, manifesting generator, projector, manifestor, reflector, to align with yourself and create your dream life, and kind of attract the right people and right opportunities and be in the right places? So the first, and feel fulfilled, the first thing you need to do is that if you're a manifesting generator, or if you're a generator, to live the best fulfilling life, you need to start responding to life. Okay, you need to start responding to, you suddenly get asked, hey, do you want to go here or do you want to go there? Even if you're an introvert, I want you to respond. I want you to put yourself out there, okay? Because you have this open and enveloping aura, you can mingle very easily with people, okay? Most generators and manifesting generators are not introverts, but yeah, we have the consistent energy. So I want you to do things that you're passionate about, and I want you to respond spontaneously to life and its energies while you are doing what you love to do, what you're passionate about doing. So depending on your sacral center, which centers which gates are defined. If you have like gate 3 defined, then you are somebody who loves to create order out of chaos. You love harmonizing environment. You may be drawn towards like rules like diplomacy or rules like being a lawyer. You like that, okay? If you have gate 59, you love creating intimate relationships with people. You may be very passionate about that. With 3, you may be very passionate about innovating or starting new things. With 27, you may be very passionate about caring for other people. A lot of nurses can be seen with this placement. And with for example 9, you are a person who's very laser focused. You are somebody who loves focusing on the work they do. So you can make somebody who's great at research. Yes. So use your sacral center to feel the most fulfilled. The gates in your sacral center, if you start using them, you will start feeling very alive and aligned to yourself. So the way you can create and attract your dream life and attract the right people, opportunities for you, is by putting yourself out there and responding to life, opportunities and people. Life will always give you a call. It is on you to respond to it or not. If you're responding wrongly to life, then you will feel frustrated. But when you are starting to respond correctly, then you will start feeling more satisfied with your life. So when you feel satisfied with your life, you know you're going on the right track and you should respond to your life, okay? Now, responding may feel like you suddenly get your energy from your gut to do something, or someone directly asks you a question, gives you an opportunity, so then you respond. That can happen whenever your gut says you yes or no. Suddenly you get a burst of energy, is when you understand that you now have to respond, okay? That is how you create your dream life and align with the right people, places and timing, by responding to your environment, by listening to your gut, okay? Because you have defined sacral. See what suddenly brings the passionate side or the pleasurable side in you. Next, for non-sacral beings, which are projectors. First, let's say about projectors. If you're a projector, then you need to wait for the invitation. You actually need to wait for somebody to come up to you and ask you for being a friend, for being a partner, or to offer you something, a job or any sort of like opportunity. But in the meantime, you have to work on yourself and work on the things that you are passionate about, your niche, so that people can recognize you. So you need to put yourself out there by working on yourself, because your energy is in that sort of a way that it attracts people who need your knowledge and wisdom. So you need to constantly work on yourself and love yourself and recognize yourself and your value. Next, for manifestors, I will say the way you create your dream life. Oh, of course, for projectors, you need to understand that when you feel successful with the friends you have, with the job that you're doing, or with the place you're in your life right now, you get recognized. That means you are living up to your signature style. But if you feel bitter with the friends you have, with the circumstances you are in, with the scenarios that you are mingling through, that means that you're not in the right track, okay? For you to shift on the right track, one thing you can do is start working on yourself and wait for the invitations, okay? You can reject invitation. You don't have to accept every invitation, okay? Not every invitation is for you. You're not somebody who's compelled to accept every invitation because just you got it. You're not that character from that film Enchanted Elsa or something, where she has to obey every command. No, you don't have to say yes to every invitation you can decline, okay, but you have to wait for the invitation from other people for relationships, career, and for friendships, like relationships, personal relationships and interpersonal relationships. Next, if you're a manifestor, you already know the drill. So you have to inform and then initiate, okay. So you can, example of it is like, telling somebody, like somebody in mutuals, that you like a person, okay, or you tell them you like them, and then you suddenly do an action for them, maybe pull out a ring or maybe propose them. So you need to inform, you don't need to like push without informing, because that's going to backfire for you. And the way you will understand that you're in right track in your life is when you will feel peaceful, okay. If you're a manifestor, you should start learning about things that you're passionate about, okay. You can create a lot of new things, okay. Universe is going to bring you opportunities where you will have to inform the other person, and then you will have to act, okay. So for example, if you want to make a friend, okay, you go to the person and you're like, hey, I really like your vibe, I was looking for friends, so I really like your vibe and I want to get to know you, okay, like that. You can't be like, hey, I'm this, do you want to be my friend, I like you. So you can't be very pushy, because your energy is already very closed and repelling. So you need to be a little informing at first and then doing. Also, you're very independent as people, so yeah, you will feel aligned in your life when you feel peaceful, when you're peaceful with the people in your life, with the scenarios and situations you are in and circumstances you are in, that brings you peace. That means you're alive and you're aligned. But when the situations or the scenarios of people you're with makes you angry, that means you're in the wrong track, and that means you need to get into the track of your life before going. For example, if you're quitting a relationship, you're doing a breakup, some people just ghost other people. You can't do that ghosting, okay, because that may backfire, that may make you angry. So what you need to do is that you need to inform the other person, hey, I don't think so, it's working out, let's break up, and then you break up, so you need to inform and then do it, okay. And for the reflectors, okay, you hear the sample identities and sample things and see which one works for you and which one not. So you're like the great experimenter of life, okay. As I said, you're like the transformers. So yeah, for you, when you feel surprised with your life, so for example, if you are in a relationship and suddenly your boyfriend surprises you with a diamond ring, or your partner surprises you with and like invitation out of nowhere, that means you're feeling aligned, or you suddenly get a promotion. So the surprises are a sign that you're aligned with your life. But when you feel like disappointed in the partner who's not doing things for you, or you suddenly start feeling this sort of disappointment with the people you are being, that means you're not in the right track. And before you make a decision to leave the person, leave the situation or the job, you need to wait 28 days, so that you don't mess up and become disappointed. So you can use the strategy types to create your dream relationships and attract your dream partners. As like for generators and manifesting generators, you should respond. If your gut, suddenly you look at a person and you feel like, yes, they're my person, or suddenly you feel that sort of energy, that means they're your person. Approach them, okay. Whenever you get the gut feeling, that your gut feeling is usually not wrong, okay. It's going to tell you a lot. Next, for the projectors, of course, when you feel recognized and successful with the person in the relationship, when you feel recognized and valued, that means this relationship is for you. But you need to wait for the invitation. You need to be called, you need to be said, hey, I like you, really, do you want to be my partner, or hey, I really like your vibe, can we be friends? So you need that sort of invitation. For manifestors, yeah, for manifestors, you need to inform. You need to tell your friends, hey, I really like this girl, so I think I may approach her. So you're somebody who's very spontaneous, so you may suddenly go to a person and give them a flower and say, hey, I like you. But before saying that, you need to be a little like informative and tell them, hey, I was seeing you and I thought you were really attractive, and then do the gesture for you. You may do it from heart, but because you're so bold, the other person, depending on their strategy type, can get intimidated. So yep, you have to inform, you have to know, and then you have to react. Okay, sorry, then if you initiate, and if you feel peaceful in your life, that means you're in the right relationships and situations. But if you don't, that means you're not. Okay, you have to speak. You can do one thing, is before you do the action, tell to other people or speak to yourself and see if this feels right to you, and then you do it. Okay, you have to inform, you have to speak, and then you have to act. Okay, and for reflectors, well, you have to wait for 28 days before making a big choice in your life. If you feel, well, surprised, that means the thing is working out for you. But if you feel disappointed, it is not working out for you. So that is all, my lovelies. That is how the human design type pretty much works, and you can use it to manifest and align with your dream life. Let me know if you want more videos on this, and I loved doing this video with you guys. By the way, I'm having these banana chips. They're really cool. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, share on this video. And yeah, we will meet again in my next video, and it was a very spontaneous video that I came up with. I hope you liked the video, and yes, bye bye lovelies, I love you so much. And yeah, let's catch up in my next video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful, or if you think it can help somebody you know. Bye bye.